It's Wednesday. So guess what? It's Wedding Feature Wednesday! Hello and welcome to Wedding Feature Wednesday. I am I say this all the time, but this time, I am super duper excited this Wednesday. Super duper excited because this lady that's going to be featured this Wednesday is so special. She's so amazing. She's so talented. She's so creative. She's amazing. So, welcome to Wedding Feature Wednesday. And this Wednesday, we're going to feature Janelle from Sweet Dreams Custom Cakes. Yay! Okay, guys, let's just do a little bit of our housekeeping in the beginning. The House of Balloons has had a couple of little problems, so they haven't had a chance to deliver us our backdroppers yet. So you stuck with my boring backdrop for now. But it's still good until they get back on board. And I just want to reach out to anybody else that wants to get featured on Wedding Feature Wednesday, whether that be an interview or having your product or service featured, like a backdrop or a wine or a champagne or anything that you think fits into our Wedding Feature Wednesday brand. Please reach out, and I'm happy to use this platform to promote you, to push you, to shout you out, to do some graphics, to put your name out there. Yo, we have to help each other out. We have to help each other out. Now, this Wednesday is so amazing because it's cake day. I love cake. I tell you, you can see, right? I'm excited about cake, but I'm also excited about Janelle because I think Janelle has an amazing story. And I, just like you, I'm gonna learn so much tonight. I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to it. And I love that Wedding Feature Wednesday is growing, guys. You know, no one's complaining. Everyone's providing really good feedback. They're saying we're doing a good job. So I'm opening this and saying, hey, send me some feedback. Let me know how this is going. Let me know what you like, what you don't, what we can improve in, who you want to see featured on Wedding Feature Wednesday as well. You might have a favorite wedding industry professional, and think out of the box because Shazi was a little bit out of the box for us. He said, hey, I want to grow more so in my international features rather than just in my weddings. So even though you think this person may not have a really big part to play in the industry, the little bit goes a long way, and we can work it out when we have a conversation about it. We can, find out what the opportunities are, explore the way that we can grow, and definitely discuss how we can tackle a lot of the challenges that we have as industry professionals in the wedding industry, and by extension in the creative industry as well. A lot of what we do, it's not just weddings, it's a whole creative service, all good. And honestly, we have to learn how to support each other a lot more. So I'm excited to have Janelle on. I hope Janelle is ready to be featured. I'm going to send a request right now. And we are going to the cake lady herself, Janelle Ryo from Sweet Dreams Custom Cakes. Look at you!
Yes, I'm all dolled up because of you, but yeah.
Nice. Janelle, first of all, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I know you're very nervous. Look at her face, guys.
Yes, because I don't do this. You know that I don't like the forefront. I like the background and I like to create, but in my own space, in my own world.
I know, but honestly, something that I've learned, and I told you, it's just a conversation, feel open. Something that I've learned is that people see our work, but a lot of time people don't know us and the passion and the love that we put into our work. And I know you enough to know that you put so much of yourself into your craft. And it's worth it to get to know you, Janelle. It's worth it to get to know how much love you have in what you do. So take a deep breath. Let's take a deep breath together. We'll do a xylophone thing. We'll take a deep breath together.
Yeah, let's do a xylem because I think I
We're
need
gonna
that
do
deep breath.
a xylophone. So take a exhale first. All right. So we're gonna take an exhale first. We're gonna hold it, and then we're gonna inhale, hold it, and let it go. Tonight's gonna be amazing. I can feel it. Okay, guys. So let's get into it. Janelle, tell us a little bit about you. Not the cake lady. Not the cake lady. Tell us about you, because I know you're more than a cake lady.
Okay, so I am soon to be 42, and I'm proud to say my age because it's not many times you find us females liking to say what we are, but I think over the years, what I've accomplished for myself, where I'm going, sometimes scary, but I'm a mom of a soon-to-be 17-year-old girl who has just finished Form 5, and she is my everything. So I am from Labrie, proud from
Big up South
Republic of
people.
Library, but I am proud to be from a small community that basically you were taught to be humble. You were taught family, and so that's one of the reasons why I treat my business like a family business. I worked at Cable Wireless for 12 years, but did a bit of cake in between there. But for 12 years, prior to that, I have a diploma in architecture. Most people don't know that. I love designing. Yes, my first job was to do house plans. I had just left South Africa and I worked at the company for 2 years. Um, let's just say that I am Janelle Choi from Library, a proud mom and a proud business owner.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I'll edit here and say that you're a proud mom of very beautiful young lady, very smart. So kudos to you for raising her so well. Yeah, you talked a little bit about your background being in architecture and working at technology companies. How did you get into cakes though?
Well, let's just say I fell into it because of her. When my aunt, I grew up with cakes around me because I had an aunt who basically still teaches cake decorating, but that was what I knew at my grandmother's house. The house was always smelling of cake. It was cake everywhere. First communion time, when you go to that house, there's cake there, everything there. And at that time, it was royal icing. However, when I had my daughter, I wanted to give her what she needed. Like I felt like if my job was not enough to give me what she needed. If she wanted to ask me to do steel pan or if she wanted to do dancing, whatever she wanted to do, that I could have afforded it. So while I was working at Cable and Wireless, I started my small business. It was not called Sweet Dreams though. It was not even called, I was not even doing cakes. I was just a hustler. I used to sell burgers, lasagna, salads. I just started doing things to help me, and then I made her first birthday cake. My aunt taught me how to make fondant in half an hour because I wanted her birthday to be special. So that was where cake and cake making started. And the guys at the office said, "But why don't you just start selling cakes and start doing stuff?" And I'm like, "Okay, maybe I can try." But if I have to go back on my old work, boy. That I am proud of because my aunt used to say, always take pictures of where you started. Every time you do something, take a photo so you know where you've grown or where you need to grow.
Yeah.
And at that time it was just I used to have a lot of books. Wilton books is what I learned when I just started.
Yeah, I love that. Honestly, that's such an empowering story, and it makes it very relevant now because sometimes on social media we see you making a big deal out of your daughter's birthday, and I've gone through your page to find really cool photos. Even if you sent me some, I really wanted to get familiar
Yeah,
with
I
your
realized that you went to look for other ones.
Yes, I really went through your journey and found some that I think, sometimes we overlook our greatness. So I put the ones you sent in and I went and looked for some really cool ones. And I thought, even the small ones, I thought they were very amazing. But as I went through, I saw a lot of your daughter's birthday setups. And I was like, one thing, Janelle go big for her daughter though.
You'd be
um,
surprised. My daughter is not even into birthdays, and if I told you that her second birthday, we bought a cake from Mega J's.
oh
Um,
gosh. Oh gosh. Oh
um,
gosh.
trust me. But I did celebrate her birthdays with cakes. In school, most times the biggest celebration was last year for her 16th birthday. So that's when I went out and I hooked up with Zenny from Zenobia.
Zenobia
So
presents.
right, so that girl just hooked me up, and I put together a birthday theme, a birthday get together in 3 days. Basically, that was
Wow.
it. So
Wow.
that's what my thing because I also like to see, and the place has to be this because with a cake, your background or your backdrop makes a big difference. So it's not
Yes.
only just having a cake there, but having a backdrop that suits the cake that you're actually doing.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so before we get into the cake itself, let's learn a little bit more about you. Why the name Sweet Dreams? You said it was a different one before, but now, why the name Sweet Dreams Custom Cakes?
When I decided that I was going to go into this head on, although having a full-time job, I thought about all of the things that I wanted. Like if you at that time, whatever research I did at that time, most people were just doing simple rectangular, square, round cakes. There was never anything that you could dream of in St. Lucia. Yes, they had the big wedding cakes with all of the steps and everything, but everything was almost the same. It was the same. Every time you look at a picture, okay, the steps and the bride growing up. But I started to watch Food Network.
Ah,
um, there was Ace of Cakes. He was working from he started working from his basement, and
yes.
that was an inspiration to be different. So I thought of okay, cakes you dream of, cakes you want to have, the things that I didn't see around. So that's where the name stemmed from. I wanted it to be just full sweet dreams, but sweet dreams was unavailable when we did a search. I
Mm.
don't know if you know there was an ice cream parlor. I didn't know that. Where Big Adams is. There was an ice cream parlor called Sweet Dreams.
Oh,
So right. So I had to, for my name search, I had to do Sweet Dreams custom cakes, and I mean it speaks for itself because at the end of the day, we whatever you dream of, we will do for you or customize.
I love that. I love that. So you want to tell us what the name was before? Or we
There
good
was
on
no
that?
name. There
Oh,
was
there was
just
no
this
name.
girl hustling in an office that used to sell
Okay.
cupcakes. I have a little book writing what you owe me, what you don't owe me. There was
Yes.
never, it wasn't, when I started, it was to a means to an end. It wasn't, I never thought that I would have become a full-time cake decorator. It
Yes.
was just a hustle to make sure my daughter was my inspiration to hustle harder. People always figure when you have a child, it takes away from you. For me, it was I have that child, I have to provide for her, I have to make sure that she gets what she needs. Education wise, I didn't want her to suffer because I know what I went through with my parents. My parents always wanted the best for me, but they couldn't afford school. For instance, my SAFA education was paid for by two different people, a doctor friend of my parents and Alan Lucy, rest his soul, who told my mom that children cannot miss out on education. So I didn't want her when she was there. I can't pay for her education or I can't get her where she has to go because I believe education is very necessary. And apart from that, also the extra activities because my daughter is not a typical um, full on head on. She likes art. She's an artsy person. She's a social artsy person. So I want her to be able to have what she needs when she's going forward in the future.
I love that, Janelle. And I told you we're gonna like get comfortable because what I'm saying to you now is so important. I love that you shared that story, especially with me, because as a young woman, as a young entrepreneur, one of my fears is that, yeah, I have a small business. You know how it is when you have a small business.
You
You
don't
just
have a
try
small
to,
business. Let's correct that. You have a big business. It's not small
okay,
because you do much more than a big business would because you are the cook, the bottle washer,
true,
the accountant, the planner, the customer service person.
true.
I had to learn that I don't have a small business. I have a business, and it's important.
Yes.
So don't say that. Don't say
Okay,
that.
okay. So as a young woman in business, sometimes it becomes very difficult as you try to grow in your industry, and the finances are difficult mainly because you are chief cook, bottle washer, everything. Time is hectic, resources are hectic, everything is just a lot. And one of my fears is that like when would you have a kid? As I got older, I was like, so when would you start thinking about having a kid? Will that deter you from your business? Will that push you towards going harder? Like these are thoughts that are practical thoughts that go through a young entrepreneur's
a young female entrepreneur's mind. And I'm happy you shared that because it sort of puts some light that, hey, you don't have to be afraid. In fact, that might fuel you to another level of what it is that you do. So thank you for
It
that.
does.
Yeah.
It does, because if I tell you that while I was working at Cable Wallace and handling Sweet Dreams, my daughter would sleep in the office with me. There are things that the first couple of years is one of the most strenuous years. However, if you have a supportive background, her dad was there while I wasn't there. Basically, he was there supporting coloring and drawing while I was either making a cake or I'm in the office working late. She's sleeping on the floor. He has to play with her. So once you and it doesn't have to be just close family. Once you have good supportive friends who will push you on. I had Debbie Bali. I don't know if you know her from Cable Wallace days, but she became a friend and she was my boss, who was one of the people who pushed me and said to me, you need to step out. You need to stop being afraid. You have a good product. Just go ahead and go head on. I
Yeah.
didn't until they pushed me out. And when they did, I said to her, okay, I'm out now, but guess what? I'm going in this. I'm going to try this
Yeah.
as a full-time business.
Yeah.
Your kids not supposed to prevent you. They're supposed to be a positive influence on your life to be a better individual because they watch what you do.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of female. I had Dr. Bobright who said to me, because once my daughter said to me, all you do is work. You never make time for me. Do you know how hard that is as a mom to hear your child telling you you're not doing what you need? But Dr. Bobright said to me, no, it's okay. She can say that. But there's a reason why you're doing what you have to do. The only thing is you need to learn to set up time for her and time for the business. So as I went along, I had to learn how to do that. So Sundays is not available to people and to business on Mondays. Sometimes I do go over, however, I try my best to allocate time for her. And now she's going to be 17. She has an understanding. She knows why I'm hustling. And do you know that because she knows how hard I'm hustling, she appreciates things more than I expected for her age. She wouldn't ask for anything unless it was necessary for her to have.
That's amazing. That's so inspiring, Janelle. You see why we have to get to know you? So you can tell us all these amazing things. I'm sure everybody's sitting there being, yes, that's beautiful. So let me get a little bit more into your brand. Why pink? You are an entire color wheel and you are a designer, you are creative. Why pink?
Because if you think about sweetness, it's typically associated with bright colors. So typically like yellow and pink, and you want it to be happy. You don't want it to be dull. When I started, I had visited a store in New Orleans years ago, and when you walked in, that pink, you wanted to be there. You wanted to buy stuff. Everything looked so happy. So I decided to do pink. It was supposed to be pink and brown, but getting the right shade of brown is very difficult, so I chose to do pink and black.
Okay, and I love it. I love it. I just wanted to know why. Then you also said that your initial reading material and your research material was basically from the Wilton's books, right? So
Yes.
what else inside your creative? Because I know you get very creative when you do your cakes. What inspires you as a creative?
So as I've gone along, I do watch YouTube is the school for me. That's school of life. For me, inspiration comes from color, from texture, the couples or the people that I'm making the cake from. Because I tell my clients often, no cake should be the same. If somebody walks in a room, when they watch that cake, they're supposed to tell you, wow, that cake, that must be that person's cake because it's supposed to tell a story. It is an art piece that's supposed to be placed in the room. That when you walk in, you will be able to get that atmosphere and say, wow, yeah, that couple, that's their cake. So you don't have to be, I don't like traditional. I like things to represent whoever it is I'm making the cake for. So clients would come and say, oh, I saw that cake on your page. I want that. No. We have to change something because that was made for that person. So most times, if you see a duplication of a cake, a color is changed, either a flower is missing, something is different. It has to tell a story. And because of my architecture background, like it was color knowing how to put colors, and because you know on the color wheel what works and what doesn't.
Yes.
So, and in our environment, the sunset, what's around you. I actually sketch and draw cakes sometimes, depending on the feeling I get from the clients. So I use them as my inspiration when I'm making stuff. So you get a lot of things that are sent to you, but you try to customize it. And I always tell people, yes, you see these people's work, but that's their work. Let me, when I do something for you, maybe look the same, but let me as my brand showcase through that cake.
Yes, I love that. I absolutely love that about what you do, for sure. So, you mentioned couples and seeing their personalities in their cake. You're really using the cake as a way to tell a story. So, if I'm a couple, let's say I'm my imaginary fiance right here, we want to book a cake. We want to book a cake for our upcoming wedding. Take me through the process. What is it like? I saw your live. I like it. I say, Missy, I like that girl's vibe. Maybe she should do our cakes. I go on your page, I see things that I like a couple of things, and I DM you and I say, hey, I'm getting married next year, May. How do I get started with this process of having you make my cake for me?
Okay, so if somebody DMs me or sends me a message about a cake, I start to ask questions. What do you see your cake like? What color scheme that you're going with? Is there any special flavors that you like? So we'll start the process by that, because then I get to know you. But however, I will tell you that I want to do a consultation with you, because you don't feel somebody's vibes through the phone. But when you meet them in person, because sometimes they say they want that, and when you meet them and you showcase different things, it's something completely different to what you felt on the phone.
Yeah.
So I provide you. So after we do the initial conversation, I do my consultation with you. In the consultation, I provide you with a tasting, because I believe it's not only the outside but the inside of the cake is very necessary. So I will provide you for tasting. Now, because of COVID, I had to branch out and do a tasting box. So I would provide the client with a tasting box, and then we do a one-on-one via Zoom call or WhatsApp calling, and then we have a conversation on it. After we've done that consultation and we've chosen your design, sometimes I have to sketch a design. Sometimes we take pieces of different things to put together. When we get to that process, and we agree that's what we want, then I send you a quotation and I tell you the price, and then we sign off. I do a full contract. I do my terms and conditions, and I also do a cake care guide, because it is very important to know how to handle your cake. A lot of persons sit down and say, oh, it's just cake. But do you know humidity and height affects how your cake work? Cake is a science, and that's over the last. It is. Cake is a science.
No, I'm just making a joke based on the current local.
Yeah, not that kind of science. No, this is a special science, a happy science. Right? Yeah. So for me, so you have to understand that we in the Caribbean, it is extremely humid. It is extremely hot. I always tell the brides I deliver half an hour to 45 minutes before reception, not ceremony, because a cake has a lifespan when it's exposed to different temperatures, different like locations. Like for instance, the ruins. Most people like the ruins, but they also want it to be free and open. If I made you a fondant cake and it was colored and that cake stayed outside there for 2-3 hours, the sun would bleach the color on that cake.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand or know that, because that's not what it's supposed. That's not their thing. But that is why I prepared a cake care guide, and I tell you what it is that how to set up your cake, where you should set it up, and then I have conversation with the wedding planners. People, well, you know me, and you're always having a conversation, right? Because it's important to know what your theme is, or because you don't know what the cake is. I think conversation about that is important because then you will know what kind of setup to do for the table for me because I don't provide tables or decor. But
Absolutely.
at the decorator would know, okay, I can if we're doing rustic, then we can use a piece of log.
Yes.
If we're doing modern, then we can use glass or we can use ceramic. So these things are important because again, your cake tells a story.
Yeah.
When somebody walks into your wedding, everything's supposed to feel like it's the couple. That's their day. It's important to them. So, I mean, my process is very simple, but it's also something that I tell clients that I do. Like a tasting, people tell me, you do tastings? I said, yes, because how do you know how well I bake or if I can bake or if it tastes good at all?
Yes.
Or you tasted something somewhere else and the way I make it is completely different. How do you know you like it? So that aspect of wedding planning is very important to me, so that the couples know what they're receiving.
I love that. And one of the key things that you said there is how you adapted to COVID, that you're now doing your one-on-one consultations as Zoom consultations and you're sending out the tasting boxes. And if anybody go on her page, she actually posted her tasting boxes and they look so yummy. They look so yummy. But I love that because a lot of time people would choose somebody and say, oh, I'm not going to this baker because the cake nice. The cake looks nice, but maybe they don't like the flavor. Or somebody would say, I like that one flavor, but they don't make it the way that I like to see it aesthetically. So when you get a tasting box, you really do get a chance to observe the flavor, understand what it's like, and choose what it is that you want for your
And
wedding.
choose what's important because sometimes they go through the box and like everything that they chose, they don't want that. They want something else.
Yeah.
Because my signature lemon basil is one of the most popular cakes that I have for weddings. The brides come in and they're like, oh, that really tastes nice. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
So
I think the
it's
basil
just
is like, should I have basil? Basil at my wedding? I've had your lemon basil and it's almost my favorite. Well, out of everything I've ever tasted from you, it is my favorite. So I love that. Absolutely love that. What is your favorite flavor though?
If I had to be honest, I'm not a cake person.
Oh wow.
I don't know. I yes. I'm not I should say I don't like sweet stuff, but my favorite thing to actually have is like banana bread. I absolutely, if I make banana bread at home, that's what I have with my coffee. That's what I have. Or I have a good slice of chocolate cake. That's about it. But I like flaky pastry. I like custards. I like tarts.
Yes.
So that's what I like. But for cake wise, no, I'm not. I.
Do you make these outside of just your cakes? Do you make pastries?
I do make other stuff other than just cake. I do cupcakes, brownies, tarts, pies, cheesecake, everything that I figured I needed to make then. Imagine when I just started was with a cupcake menu. I used to do stuffed cupcakes. And I named them and all of that. And that's how, before the big cakes, it was cupcakes that I was doing. So these are things that I mean, over the years, I sort of branched out and left alone because what I realized for me is the thing I feared the most was weddings became the thing that I love the most right now.
Yeah. That's nice. I'm going to stray a little bit away from weddings, only because somebody in the comments said, to me, I want a tasting box. And I just want to mention something that I've experienced with you. So last year, Christmas, you did an entire themed experience box, which you call it the Grinchmas, I believe.
And it was the Grinchmas.
That was creative, that was innovative, that was tasty. That was just such an amazing concept. So I hope it is that this year you will do something very similar so that persons that are saying that they want a tasting box but they're not getting married can still have a chance to have a sample box of your stuff.
Okay, so we did that for Christmas. I am my business is in the industry term labeled small to medium sized business. I find it very difficult sometimes to do the tasting boxes because they take a lot of time. So I only allocate them at certain times of the year. Like I have done Easter time. I had cookies, cupcakes. I had a whole bunch of Easter packages that I had done. Christmas time, I would do stuff like that. Oh yeah, and around Valentine's Day sometimes. But I don't really do promos because as a business person in the industry where you find it difficult financially, promos take a lot from you financially as a business. Yes, it gets you customers, but it sets a tone that sometimes it's difficult to come out of
Yeah.
because it's expected if you do a promo, it's supposed to be underpriced. But especially with the way COVID is going, everything keeps increasing.
Yeah.
No matter
I
what
see
you
you
do, you're going
complain
to.
about these ingredients sometimes.
Let me tell you, lately, you used to be able to shop at one location. Now
Yeah.
to just get products, you have to go to several different locations, and people don't understand that that costs money. Me driving around looking for products, that's a cost. Now I have to take up that cost for myself because at the end of the day, the client does not know what's happening in the background. I've already given them a price. I can't go back on that price. Just yesterday, I was looking for cocoa, and where I usually would buy my cocoa, there's none. It's not available. Where it was available, it was double the price. But I needed it, so I would have bought it.
Yeah.
So the client does not know that, but
Yeah.
I take up that cost. So it's for me, I mean, yeah, it has become rather, yeah. So I would do the tasting boxes. So expect most likely at Christmas time that I would do some sort of,
Yeah,
not, hopefully not,
that I
yeah,
know,
something.
like, around 10 people I see Saturday already for the Christmas boxes. So the line long. The line is long for the Christmas boxes for sure. Somebody's asking a question. They're saying, any suggestions for choosing cake flavor for couples coming to St. Lucia for their wedding? How do you
Okay,
choose your cake flavor? Yeah.
so if I have, because I do have a lot of foreign clients who come in, depending on who the planner is, or if they contact me directly, if they are coming in at least a week before, I would do a tasting, but I would allow them to choose their flavor via my flavor listing prior to, and explain to them that that there's limitations to what we can provide within that space of time. So they have to understand that there are things that are seasonal that I will not be able to get or provide. So I explain that in full, and if they decide that they want to do it that way, that's okay. Because I've had tastings done where people come into St. Lucia to meet their wedding planner like months before, and they take their boxes and they do the the tasting, and then when they come back for their wedding, then they already know what we have to do. So
Okay.
it depends on what they're choosing, what cake style that they're going with. Then I can tell them or guide them as to what we can or cannot do.
Yeah. Somebody is saying, can I pre-book my Christmas package? So it's
Yeah,
sure.
well,
It's sure SLU. You gotta write that down.
you see, she'll needs, yeah. Tell her I say when she go to the market and she provides me with some nice fresh products, because for me, I believe in doing everything from scratch.
Lovely.
Cake, custards, everything from scratch, because that's what determines my quality and my consistency over the years. I don't go away from something that I have tested, because I tested my recipes before I started to put them out. I've tweaked them to suit my brand as much as possible.
Yeah. You have another question. I love this engagement tonight, guys. Thank you for that. Do you still drop off the cake an hour before the reception, even if the ceremony and the reception is the same venue?
Hold on, Tej. I was getting a call, and for some reason, my can you hear me?
Well, yes, I can hear you. No problem. I'll read the question again for you. Can you hear me?
For some reason, I can't hear you.
Aw. I hope we don't have to end this live. Aw. Can you hear me now?
Barely, but I will try.
Okay, here's what to do. Leave the live.
Okay, so you want me to end the live and come back in?
Yes.
Okay, so you know I'm not good at it, so how do I do this?
There's an X.
Okay, sorry. Glasses needed. Glasses required. Okay, so, all right.
Right. Okay, guys. She just had to leave the live, and then they re-invite her to the live. Right, so she can come back in. This is exciting and I love the engagement. Thank you so much for that. So I'm gonna just go back to a question about, do you still drop the cake an hour before the reception if the ceremony and the reception is the same venue? So we're just waiting on Janelle to come back in, and hopefully she will answer that for us. This is exciting. I'm learning so much about Janelle. I mean, it's been loads of storytelling in there, and I love the ups and the downs that we've had so far, with understanding about her journey through being an entrepreneur. All right, here she is. The light's tracking. Thank you very much for the compliments that our lives have been amazing. Thank you for that. Let me get it back in. Hopefully this time it works. Absolutely. Like I always tell persons, we're just using this platform to make sure we understand what's happening in the industry. You can hear me now, I'm sure.
Okay, so I'm back in and I heard the question.
Okay.
So if the wedding is at the same location and reception, I asked if there's a back door or another location that I could come through. Because most times, though weddings are at the same location, they have changes or they have cocktail hour. And so I try to deliver within that. I had a wedding. I would also ask questions like, is there a place I could keep the cake before it goes out within that time? And I sometimes stay a little bit longer than I can put it out. The wedding planners work with me, so we work together as to how I come in to deliver the cake.
Right. And I will jump in here and say that most times your ceremony and your reception not be in the exact same location. There's always a little bit of a shift. So in the case of the ruins in St. Lucia, you might get married in one bay of the ruins and then have your reception in another bay. So as long as we can have a transition between the two spaces, which is the cocktail hour, like she's saying, then that can happen. But if you're, for some reason, you know, I don't know how your planner would put it like that, but if for some reason you have directly a ceremony and you go directly into a reception in the same location, however that happens, you must have photos. So even if you're not having a cocktail hour, you have to have photos. And we simply coordinate with Janelle. We say, listen, Janelle, the planner, the photographer, and the bartender, because you have to keep all the guests happy. We coordinate. And listen, man, we need enough time to make sure everything works out properly. You have another question?
Our last wedding that you and I did, they were at Pigeon Island. However, you coordinated, we messaged each other, we asked the questions, and then I delivered within that time, the time frame that you told me to. And again, time is very important. I will do this again. Don't tell me your wedding is at 9 o'clock and then Truth and wedding is at 11 o'clock, because I cannot be held accountable for having a cake sit outside for 4 or 5 hours, because again, the temperature and the surroundings will make a big difference in that cake.
Yeah, and
I'll tell you, I need my partner. You know my partner who works with me. So we need to set up. Yeah, my partner. That's the thing with my business is I started by myself, but my partner has been with me for the last 6 years, and he's an integral part of this because he carries. You know the huge size of these cakes that I have to carry sometimes, and the locations sometimes are difficult, so we cannot drive in. He has to carry them. He bakes and decorates, and he's very detailed. So sometimes when I miss something, he will tell me, "Hey, okay, yeah." He's silent, but he's an integral part of the business. And over the last 6 years, the business has grown because of his details when it comes to the setups and the time, and driving me around carrying these wedding cakes in those bad roads. Trust me, I don't think I trust anybody else to drive me but him.
Ah, that's amazing. I love that you have a very good and strong and supportive team that has allowed you to grow. I love that. And I will speak on behalf of my experience at that wedding is that we had Pigeon Island, we had a curfew, which is closer to the water for the ceremony, and we had around the ruins that we had the cocktail reception. So it was a daytime sort of a cocktail style reception. And the wedding was running an hour late. And I will say that I've never learned how much communication is important with your suppliers at that time. Because Janelle called early, she said, everything's going okay, I'm going to deliver the cake at this time, that's what's going to happen, is this okay for you? And I was like, yes, however, let me tell you what's happening. This is happening this time. I called her again, I said, hey, this is running late, that's what's happening. She's like, okay, I will do X and X and X. And even upon arrival, your partner was very strategic with making sure that the table that the cake was going on was nice and stable. He wanted to test it, and he had
Yeah, because we've had a bad experience already with setting up a cake, and it's important about the table. I will tell
Absolutely.
bride
I love
Bride
that
and
about
groom
you.
need to understand that these cakes are not light. They may seem, yes, on the inside it's light, but you have pounds and pounds of buttercream and flowers. That's important as to what the table should be. It's
Yes.
important to tell your planner you're guessing because even my cake I did years ago on a I had it on a string. It was 5 or 6 tiers. The engineer asked me what was the weight of the cake. So to see me putting water in the pans to find out what about approximately what weight will I need to have the cake.
Yeah.
Again, architecture background, knowing the diameter of how to spread the weight of the cake, that's very important. And you and I have had that conversation. I
Yeah.
mean, you understand because of your background, but some people don't understand that it is very necessary. Pigeon Island ruins is stable. However, the slope
Yeah, the lawn
is
is
not.
different. Yeah.
Is different.
And even then, when he came, the table was slightly off. And no, and I'm speaking to his level of detail is that he didn't take away from the integrity that I had as a design. He simply said, how about we put it underneath the tree where it has a very beautiful frame? And I was like, okay, designer, that works. That works there. It alters the design, but it alters the design in a way that it doesn't sacrifice the function and the cake itself. And sometimes as designers and planners, we have to remember that, we cannot just focus on the thing looking good. We have to focus on that it stays up, that it's stable,
Yeah,
that it
because
doesn't
just
move.
imagine you're a bride and you come to cut your cake and that table just rocks. What happens?
Yeah, exactly. So I must say, you all work as an amazing, amazing team. You have another question in there that's from ADX Lacha. What was her most exciting and expressive cake she's ever created? And tell us about, if it pushed your boundaries.
Most exciting for me was I had a couple who wanted a black patina wedding cake.
Woo!
I sent you a picture of it. You'll be surprised that cake was tiny, but the
Mm.
design made that cake humongous. I did research because I wanted to get the right pattern. I told the bride, just give me a week. Let me go find things for her. Let me try to get stuff for her because at the end of the day, I wanted that cake to be, for me, my best wedding cake ever because people don't do black wedding cakes. Who does that? How crazy can you be? So it's a lot of the traditions that we have here. People don't want to step outside of that, but she did. Her wedding was different, and it was in a backyard. It was simple, but that cake was so impactful because after you put on the copper on that black, it just changed everything. And then you had these big, bright, bold red roses. Then that changed it altogether. Color, texture, the flowers all make up your cake. That was my most exciting wedding cake.
Yeah.
And for me, because it spoke sweet dreams, that's what my brand's supposed to be. It's supposed to be different. It's supposed to be what you dream of. And then my most fearful wedding cake was that my first time cake on that swing and that cake was 6 tiers.
Mm.
And it had to hang from the ceiling at Royalton.
Mm.
And I had to figure out how we were getting it to be stable and not rocking. And then also that bride and groom, they were not a typical bride and groom. Their cake on the inside was my banana cake. They had no regular flavors.
Mm.
So when we had to set up, and I worked with the wedding planner, the cake was supposed to be all white, and an all white cake is the most difficult cake as a decorator to do because you will see every single flaw on that cake.
Ah, okay.
So if one mark or line or a little spot, it will be captured on camera. It will be there. It's just white is one of the most difficult. The good thing is she wanted white, but it was supposed to be different textures of white. So that helped. But then when we got there, my partner had to help us to try and stack it on the swing. And I ain't got no height.
Yes.
So who's going to put the top tier on top of there? So the engineer was really good because he helped because I had to hold the swing and put it on, and that cake was beautifully executed. It was really nice. Just the atmosphere of everything else in the room
Yes.
worked.
Yeah.
And I had one more where the couple that was getting married, they wanted a particular design, but the husband now was a welder. So he wanted to make his own stand, and in between the cake had to have that metal stand because it meant a lot to them. So I had to work with him so he could do a test run to see if I can put the cake in there. So that was different from me. And again, that cake was an all white cake. So there's no room for error. The white cake, there's no room for error.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that. I could just imagine the welded pieces in between the cake. That's amazing. You didn't get any pictures of that one. We didn't see that one. I'd love to see that one.
It's actually on the page. I was looking for it, but I don't think I could find it in my phone.
Okay. Okay.
Because of this, you've made me realize how many wedding cakes that I have done because I was searching for a phone to find them. Yeah. I realized that I have done quite a bit.
You and opening your eyes and letting you see one that you're very good at what you do. You're amazing at what you do. But two, you've done a lot. And they're all so excellent. You sent me a couple, and I was like, there's more. Let me go look for more. And I was like, she didn't see that one. She didn't see this other one. I'm snatching your social
because I am my biggest critic. I always find flaws and errors, and I always, for me, I'm hard on myself. I want things to be perfect, but it does not always work out that way. Rainy weather, carrying a cake in a rainy weather, there are lots of things that can go wrong. And so for me, like I don't like to be in the foreground. That for me. I like to be in the background. I mean, you've stolen videos of me while I work.
Yeah. I see Nadia as well.
Yes, and then I was carrying a cake down to January, which I could not set up at the location. I had to have it together. And I remembered you because if only the bride and groom knew that I had to be sitting down in the back of my car, crouched down, holding onto that cake for dear life because our roads are bad and we're going down to January for a 3-tier wedding cake, and the wedding cake is not a small wedding cake.
Yeah.
People don't understand that, like, if you do a wedding cake, it takes apart from the design, the setup takes hours. So people say, but it's a wedding. Why are wedding cakes more expensive?
Yeah.
If I'm gonna take half my day or my whole day just to do that, then it has to be worthwhile. It's not that we want to set up, we want to charge more. And then again, my wedding cakes are sometimes double the size of my birthday cake. So like real talk, because you would get a cake, I mean minimum size.
Nadia, your cakes are huge.
Yeah, Nadia has a problem because she said make a small wedding cake for me, and I made a like what I thought was her money's worth, but okay.
I saw the video and she said, I asked Janelle for a small wedding cake and she shows up with this. And Janelle said, it's your money's worth. And I'm like, yeah.
But it is. At the end of the day, I give you value for money because you spending a lot of money. And again, it's the same thing. I speak to brides about that. If you're gonna make a wedding cake that big, use it for desserts. Ask the caterer to minus dessert and use your cake for dessert. Get ice cream. Make it simple. You don't have to go the extra mile and spend so much money on there.
On dessert again on top of that. I like that. Absolutely. I was gonna ask you about there's so much I wanna ask you, Janelle, about the trends that are coming up. You spoke a little bit about the colored cakes and the textures and the patterns. You mentioned the black one, but I also saw another one where you had ruffles on the cake, you had a marbling on the base. You doing your face up, but I think that cake is amazing. I think honestly,
is that the blue marble cake that we did for Soufre?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that cake was scary because square cakes, you need to get that sharp edge, you need to get that proper look, and then the bride wanted the marbling effect, and if you over mix, the marble no longer looks marble, it looks like brown. It's really not going to make sense. And then sometimes you have to take it out and redo it because you want to make it look the way they want. The ruffle part takes hours because what would happen is my partner and I would work. So he cuts the ruffle, he cuts the round shapes, and then I ruffle the edges and then I place them on the cake. So sometimes just ruffling one bottom of a cake sometimes takes us 2 hours to finish for a wedding cake.
Wow. And you airbrush as well, Janelle?
I airbrush.
Let's talk a little bit about the art that you do on these cakes because I went through these photos. I saw airbrushing, I saw hand painting, I saw a lot. So go on, tell us about the art that you put into the cakes now.
I didn't realize that until a couple of years ago, cake is art. You could do so many things with cake. Yes. You could use buttercream to make it into art and texture. Our famous painter, Mr. Xavier, I had a visit to his location because I baked for them before. I actually made a dragon cake for them once.
I love that.
So when you get there and you see all these paintings and these textures, and you're like, my cakes could look like that. You could do things with cakes. It's something that you have fun and you play with. Hand painting on cakes, I did not realize that I enjoyed so much. It's time consuming because it's not like on a dry paper. If you put too much alcohol or too much water, depending on what you're doing, it will eat through the fondant, right? So you have to. It's a matter of learning your texture and learning your foundation, learning what goes with what. Watercolors, what can you use? So I use a lot of alcohol because alcohol evaporates very quickly. So I use vodka for painting especially. Airbrushing, Michael, that's a different story altogether because I've been wanting to learn. I'd asked Alvin to show the tattoo guy once. I wanted to learn how to airbrush a full painting on a cake. I've been wanting to do that for a very long time. So, but I like to airbrush because you can do shadows. You could do certain textures with airbrushing that you can't do with hand painting. So, right. So, especially people nowadays, one of the trends is gold and silver, and people like that kind of stuff. So, over the years, it used to be hand painted on, but it takes a lot more material to do a hand painted gold cake. So, if you use an airbrush, it's easier to almost like it makes it flawless for you. So you use less alcohol, less paint, less powder, so it makes it easier for you.
I love that. Oh my God. you are one hell of an artist on these cakes. So we see even the way you've been doing the buttercream and you do this design that chefs usually do on a plate, but you do that all the way around the cake. What is that called? I don't even know what that style is called.
Well, it's not because okay, so like some of the buttercream cakes that I do with the splatters and stuff on there and the swatches, I literally use painter's palette knives to actually get that. Because you need to have the cake needs to be firm. It also needs to be a certain texture, and then your buttercream, which I make my own buttercream. You need to understand how to work with the medium. It
Yeah.
has to be something that you are able to work with. So, again, if somebody sends me a picture, I still try to make it a Sweet Dreams branded cake, not just what they've sent me.
Somebody's asking, what's the longest time you've taken to make and assemble a cake?
Oh, the car cakes, which is
Ah,
yeah. My partner and I have worked on a car cake, and that literally took us 24 to 36 hours from baking, carving, buttercreaming, and then assembling and decorating and putting on the finishing touches. Yeah,
yeah.
because we want all the details. I go as far as printing blueprints to make sure it's as close to as possible, because you want the cake to look like a car.
Yeah.
But that takes a long it takes a long time. Now that's where he's good at. So like for instance, I will do the carving and the buttercreaming, and then I leave everything else up to him. So I could close my eyes and he would make sure the rims look like mag rims, or I'm like, it's just the rims. No, 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 no. He wants it to look a certain way. He wants it to make sure, because you know guys and their cars. You know how.
Yeah. That's
So
right.
it's the same thing when it comes to the cake. Make sure he puts his rims there and the lights, and he looks to make sure the headlights are like, yeah. I go through that process every time we have to work on a cake.
I love that. You mentioned earlier about buttercream. I know that I've seen you selling buttercream in a wholesale way, and I thought that was just ingenious because if I wanted to get into cakes, that would be something that maybe would that be half the battle for me. Then I also know that you've done classes before that I was supposed to come to, but I never got the time to do. But I love that you're exploring things outside of just you making cakes. That you're
Because
finding
you have to grow.
yes.
You have to grow. And then when I started, it was like, you want to teach people your techniques or your tricks. I'm like, when I started this business, nobody wanted to help me.
Yeah.
I found it very difficult to ask for help with other decorators. One person for sure who helped me was Hildia Morissette, and she used to try to guide me. And these were the people who had been in the business longer than I have. I started to use, again, internet, and I joined groups online. Currently, I'm in a group called HBIC, and that's a group of women who are helping each other. We are of all different backgrounds, but we support each other business-wise, especially. The Jolina, who is the head, she used to be a full-time cake decorator, but the business is more than just cake decorating. How to manage, how to be productive, things that I've been teaching myself, and I would wish to teach others, because there are lots of growing cake decorators out there, but they undermine themselves and they undercost themselves because they don't think they're valuable enough. Who's going to pay me that amount of money for cakes? When I started, I did cupcakes at $60, and people were like, I ain't paying that those $60 for 12 cupcakes. But it wasn't just about the cupcakes. It's not about just the flour. It's about the time. People don't understand that it's about the wrapper, the buttercream that you use, the time to go to the supermarket to get supplies, the time to bake it. All these things make up your cost. So it's not just putting cake in the oven and decorating it.
The ingredients, the packaging. We have to say
The
properly.
washing up, let me tell you, you know how much dishes I have to wash, the amount of water I use,
Life,
right?
Yes.
The amount of dishwashing liquid compared to a household, you know how much dishwashing liquid is, and I have to buy a particular brand in order to remove all of that fat content, because cleanliness is very important. The space that I work in has to be really clean. So there are things that you need to do, and these are all costs that you incur as a business person. Delivery has to have a fee because it's not free to drive. And I keep telling people, when you deliver, you can't think about delivery too. You also have to think about coming back. So
Yeah.
these are things, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to teach, because in my two, I do one-on-one classes, and I have said to the students that it is what you want to learn, because I wanted to do classes with the other people here like NRDF, and I found that I don't want them to teach me these things because I already know. I want to learn particular things, what's trending, the new things out there. So
Mhm.
I couldn't get that because they set it that way and they're doing these things this way. So I wanted to teach people what I learned, how to do certain things, how to run a business, because it's not only about decorating. This is something that you have to learn, that you have to. Customer service, you're supposed to keep record of everything. Speak to your clients like they're your family, but still be business-like. So sending my message and telling them, oh, I remembered your birthday. Are you doing anything this year? That's
Yeah.
important because that sets you apart from other people, because customer service is very, very important because there are many of us.
Yeah.
There are so many of us, but I need to make sure that I'm set apart, because customer service is good, cake is good, decorating is good, and you become part of my family, my Sweet Dreams family.
Have you ever thought about you teaching at NRDF that people can learn from you at NRDF?
I was once offered to teach, but it didn't turn out the way it was supposed to be because I wanted to teach it my way.
Ah, okay. Completely understand. Completely understand.
So
Another
yeah,
thought that I had is, you mentioned that you used to watch Ace of Cakes and Food Network, and a lot of time we see these shows, it's like little competitions. Do you think that there's space in St. Lucia, opportunity here to have competitions against in the cake making industry, in the catering and cake making industry? Do you think that we could do a nice little, competitive, a friendly
a bake off. Of course, there are lots of great decorators and bakers in San Lucia that a
a
bake off
lot
could
on
be
this
done.
line too. A lot on
Yes.
this line.
I have a former customer who has now become a cake business owner. She is, and I always have conversations with her because I'm proud of her. I
Nice.
mean, people have to understand you will lose customers, but you also grow customers, and you have to find things to get them in. You can't stick with the same trend. You have to see what's trending, because what I found in all of my years, like the brides who come here, they want what's trending in their location,
Mm.
but they want it in the Caribbean.
Mm.
So you
And it
have to
might not
find
work all the
ways.
time. Yeah.
The thing is, most of the time, you can't get half the things that to do it. So you have to order, you have to pre-order. You know, when you're decorating, they send you all what they feel like they need to have, but
Yeah.
some of the things are not available. Supplies are not available. So it's just the things that you need to do to be one step ahead.
I'm not sure if you've seen these comments, so I'll just read a few of them out to you because a lot of love in there for you. Business owners need to learn this. When you go to a certain level of success, reach back and pull somebody up. Bex is saying, watch my people, and you're already asking you if you have an extra cake in your kitchen. Bex, stay on
Yeah,
the
because
line.
every time you go somewhere, you want to eat the cake. Like seriously, Bex.
Bex, stay on the line because we actually are giving away a cake from this live. So stay on. I'm not telling you anything more because you gotta stay there. Somebody else is saying, yes, there's a lot of undercutting. So many unassuming costs, paper towels, disposable bags, dowel rods, cake rounds, for sure. And another comment again for you saying, I'm glad you're teaching and helping new cake decorators or business owners. This is very awesome stuff. And kudos to you, Janelle. I mean, honestly, somebody asked Bex if he's supposed to be in the gym. Bex, stop eating the people cake.
Yeah, because he's in the gym, he want his belly to go down, but yet so he's asking for a cake, right?
Yeah. Somebody asked, have you all had a cake competition in St. Lucia already? I remember a few years ago, Jackie Scott had approached me about an independence cake bake-off. So I think there has been one before.
She didn't. We did something where we all just posted independence pictures, but we didn't do. I know there was something done with. I think it was NRDF because the chef from Coconut Bay had won something or something like that.
Yeah.
but that was only two people who had done classes with NRDF. I think that was the stipulation. I think Court had a bake-off once. That was years ago, if I remember. But there was never been like a bake-off, a
So
competition
you
bake-off,
went
like
for it.
what you, who?
You.
Me?
I'll help you. You. Let's
Of course I know you
You.
Oh, okay.
I will help you execute it. I'm sure you can gather your team. Nadia's on the line. Bex is there. You're there. I'm there. And let's have a competition. Let's have a friendly bake-off next year. I mean, I know the end of the year is always very busy with all your orders and stuff and getting ready for Christmas. But if we plan this properly, there's an opportunity that comes out of that. Look, Nadia's here already. She in that. You understand? Let's.
And that's the thing. The thing is, in the industry that we work in, we have become friends. We work together. There are, and that's what people. Let me tell you. If I give you a scenario of, I go to the cake shop very often, and the cake shop owner always tells me, I need to hire you because every time I walk in there, people ask questions to her, and I'm always answering or advising. Kako said, Lizzie, when I first met her, she's like, I heard you were unapproachable or you didn't want to share your ideas. I'm like, where did you hear that from? Who? Oh, because people say you're so expensive or you. I'm like, but where you get all of that? Right now, that's my goal. She know that if she needs me, I'm always there for her. I have had my students. I still have my four. To be honest, I've had 4 students. I had to put everything on hold because of COVID. I still speak to them. We still have conversations. There are people that I share ideas with that are not my students. That I just figure they need help. Help is important. Teaching somebody, okay, like I have sat down there and I have an Excel spreadsheet for costing, how to cost your cake.
Yes.
And as a bonus, I give that to my students when they come in, so they learn how to cost cake. It's important to understand, and it's not only about the product, but valuing your artistic side. Not anybody could sit down there and put this together. You have to praise yourself. Like, come on, like if you put a cake together, why listen to what other people say? Your sweat, blood, tears, everything going on. I sat on the floor crying like a baby already.
So y'all, I just letting you all know I'm a very good listener. So far, Janelle has told us that in the bake-off competition that we will be having in 2022, there will be a criteria for arts, there will be a criteria for cost, there will be a criteria for assembly. And Charlene said that she will be a taster, and Nadia said she in that. Bex have to take pictures because you have to earn the cake you're going to eat. But I think it's an excellent idea. I think it really puts you in a position to showcase not only who you are as a chef, as a baker, but who you are as a woman entrepreneur. I mean, I'm listening to you this entire time. I'm like, you're an amazing person. You are an amazing person.
Thank you.
Forget the cake and the creative and everything else. I know in the beginning, just like what you just said about Kako Sensi, like, you know, there was a pre-assumption about you, and you and I have had chats about that. There was a pre-assumption between us as well that we will not.
Yes, because like we were not, but that's why I've told you before, and you know I'm a very honest individual, and I tell you, Tej, I am proud of you. The girl that I saw climbing years ago, yes, but now you have blossomed, and that's what we need in this industry, and as women. To support each other, to grow with each other. And in the cake industry, I always tell people, we're supposed to have an association. If each of us came in at a certain level, it would be much better than when you come in and you want to charge a cake for $80, but you don't realize the picture you put on it was $20. The buttercream I used it around $20. So where's your profit? Where is your time and your energy that you've put into this?
Yeah.
So if we work together, it would be really, I mean, it would help and it will set us apart. It's like, but a lot of people find, I want to work with you because you're my competition. You're not my competition. I'm my competition.
Exactly. Absolutely.
I am who I need to make sure that I improve on.
Exactly. And I'm always saying it's so exciting to learn from each other. You know, we should be on more projects together. I should be able to learn from you. If I'm interested in cakes and I come see our Jenna, let me see how Jenna's stacking a cake. I love personally when I'm doing a design and somebody saying, let me come and see how she doing that. They stand there, they watch. I don't feel intimidated. I don't feel threatened anyway. I'm like, yeah, and this is what I use there. So sometimes you can put the whole thing and then sharing it, because for me, the idea was that I did now, I'm going to come up with a new one tomorrow, and another one the day after that, and another one the day after that. So whatever it
Yeah,
is,
because you're doing things with different people, so you're learning different people. So each couple has a different ambience, each couple has a different aura. So, and even if you replicate me, means that you are looking up to what I'm doing. What's wrong with that? The same way I get inspiration from other decorators overseas, and that's what the thing for me is. I have learned. I look outside of St. Lucia because I inspire to be a Ron Ben Israel. This guy is a genius in floral work on cakes and making flowers. But guess what? He no longer has that. He has a team that literally sits down there for hours just making sugar flowers. He has a team that does his baking. But when he started
yeah,
this bake.
yeah, yeah,
So I want to inspire to be that person.
yeah. Guys, don't leave. Yes, a cake will be given away, so don't leave. You're already telling me, raffle me a cake when the cake coming through. Hold on, okay? There is cake being given away, okay? Absolutely, Janelle. I mean, this discussion can go on forever. Honestly, getting to know you. What I love, like you said a while ago about Capo Saint Lucie, is that it really opens the door to understand that we don't just get inspired by things that we see online, but we can get inspired by our own local entrepreneurs. How your chocolate cake is inspired by chocolate locally made in St.
Yeah,
Lucia.
and she started, and imagine she's an inspiration to me because she started in her small kitchen. And look at the beautiful masterpiece that she now has. I mean, it's of international standards. So that's the sort of the thing that you need to want to get towards. I don't want to, no, I want to be up there. I want to inspire others.
And absolutely just the same, you know, there's so many different elements in what you do that we've learned that persons can explore their inspiration. So not just the flavors. I mean, there's chocolate that we make, there's coffee. You know, if somebody wants to get into coffee cakes, you know, there's basil, like you said, there's our natural herbs and spices, cinnamon cakes. So not just flavors, but other things. There's artwork. You mentioned that earlier, that, you know, you went to Xavier's exhibition. There's artwork. I can imagine when you said about the welding, what if we start to include the sculptures from Jalin Ludovic, you know, inspirations from that into your cake stand, into your cake.
Right. So elements of St. Lucia, it's all over. And St. Lucia people are artistic people. There are lots of people that do so much. There are people here that, before I used to buy cake toppers online, there are people here that create cake toppers. You can now ask for specialized cake toppers.
There's 3D, real 3D designs. I mean, they do the plastic printing.
He does my cookie cutters for me.
And there you go, cookie cutters. You know, like I'm excited about what you're saying, because it's not just about, oh, Janelle's making cakes, but it's about any cake maker in St. Lucia can be inspired by their own homegrown entrepreneurs. And you mentioned the association earlier. That's what the basis of a creative association is supposed to be about, is that we are looking in the room, not outside, not through the window. We are looking in the room and saying, how do we all make it? How do we all grow together? The cake needs a table. I agree. Jenny's paper design, she used it on one of her cakes. Janelle used that on one of her pink.
Yeah, that was her flowers. Because even then, you can use, for me, I use natural flowers or sugar flowers. But the client wanted a particular cake that had paper flowers. Now, Jenny, her quality, for me, and that's again true, for me, even if I'm homegrown, I want your quality to be of a high standard, because that will say a lot. If I put something on my cake that I bought and it does not look well, I need to make sure that the quality that I put on is replication of what Sweet Dreams is.
And let me pinpoint you here. That's what the competition or the teaching sessions will do for you, which is that it makes sure that you put in pressure on the industry. when you have a competition, we basically saying everybody needs to step their game up right now. We need to bring the whole crew to the next level. Not just I'm good at gigs and then that girl just does the thing.
All
No,
of us, there's a space for all of us. There's a space for all of us. We can grow so much and learn from each other instead of the backbiting and, oh my God, don't go to this person, she's too costly. Don't do that.
How can I give a good critique?
Right. If you see something and you don't like it, you can actually call up the person and have a conversation and say, you know what, I went to so and so and I saw this. I think you should, this is what my opinion is. At the end of the day, it's hard to do those things, but I've built my relationship with, as I said, the cake store. Yeah, I speak to everybody, everybody I work with. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. How, if a customer has your sample box, right? Do you have a card in there that gives you a review, or you just have a conversation after?
With this wedding sample boxes, if, for instance, all the cakes will be labeled as to what it is, but we have a full conversation online because I want to still experience you tasting the cake. Okay. And that's why I do a video call, because so I can still feel what you like or what you don't like. My first couple was very happy. He asked me, do you want me to be extremely honest? I said, but the point of doing this is so that I know what you like or what you don't like. And initially they wanted one flavor, they wanted only 2 flavors. Now they're going in 3 flavors in the cake.
And that was my question to you. That leads me to the question. How do I say, to you as a cake maker, if I was a client, how do I say to you nicely, I didn't like it?
You tell me that the cake was dry or the cake had an issue, and you get that because I have had I had a wedding cake and the client was unhappy because they found the cake to be a little bit dry or whatever. Then you work with that client, you offer particular things to that client and say, okay, because again, the scenario of that day might be that the oven was too hot, something went wrong, but you cannot tell because that cake looks fine to you. It's only when it's tasted by the client you could know. And
so Janelle, we're watching you for bed on behalf of
because warm cake will always be moist. But I had to go back and find out what it was. That cake had to sit in the AC for hours and the AC actually dried up the cake. So there are things that you have to do and you have to research, right? That you have to understand, because at the end of the day, if something goes wrong, you need to have a conversation because you need that client to return to you or to stay with you.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like critique, and that's why I asked you, because some people say, me, yeah, you don't know cake, you don't know nothing, you don't have no palate, so I know
to be honest, it takes a lot of maturity to understand critique. When I first started and you told me that, I used to feel offended. I used to cry. Like if I did something and it was something wrong, I used to cry like a baby because like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? Because I didn't do it well enough. And then I had to learn, no. In order for you to get better, you have to learn from your mistakes.
Absolutely.
My worst cake disaster I had was a couple weeks ago, and I had to learn from that, and it was a very bad yet good experience because I had a whole cake failure. I mean, granted, there were other issues that brought on the failure, but as a business person, I had to fix that. And that was for a wedding. I had a 3-tier wedding cake that got ruined. I put together a 2-tier wedding cake in an hour and a half and went back to deliver that wedding cake before the bride actually saw that cake. Wow. Because I have a relationship with the hotel. I have a relationship with the bride. I need to make sure that they actually have something. Yeah. And I didn't care that I lost all this. The cost, because at the end of the day, when she leaves, she's going to say, the cake failed, but guess what? This woman actually put together a cake within. Good thing is I had cakes that were already pre-baked for an order the following day that I used. I know I wouldn't sleep the night I had to make the cakes back. However, when you walk away from that, and I didn't cry. I didn't cry. I didn't cry. Right? So these are experiences that you have, and that's where contracts are important, and understanding your relationship with your customer. I had made my error was because that wedding had been postponed so many times, I had not provided a contract. Had she had received the contract, the reason why the cake got messed up, I would not have been at fault, but it would still feel wrong of me not to provide her with a cake. So for me, it's ethics in business. It's ethical. Like, I know that there are cake decorators that use box cakes or whatever they want to use, but that's them. My business is a certain standard, and I need to be able to provide you with something of good quality.
I love that. Listen, if you're a cake decorator or an aspiring cake decorator on the live, I think there was a lot of gems in this live, from putting together your price sheets, understanding your techniques, learning your foundations, understanding how to stack, crouching behind cars, having timings. I just threw that crouching in there for you guys. If you're ready for the stakes, your knees and your arms. Having a supportive partner, being inspired by so many different elements and things, learning collaboration among different industries, having communication. Timing was an important point that she couldn't play. Understanding your resources, your buttercreams, your fondants, your temperatures, your locations. I mean, there's so many gems that are coming from Jenna's live tonight. This is, somebody saying thank you for being so transparent and sharing all this information with us. And this is somebody in the catering industry. So absolutely, I appreciate learning more about you. I am moving forward as a wedding designer, and I know there are planners on the live. We're going to value you more when we design, when we start to execute, so when we start to plan. You are an initial conversation that we need to have.
Because you spoke about that on your last live with James, and that's important. The vendors who make up essential stuff need to work together to understand each other, because the location of where the cake is, the lighting for the photographer for the cake, because if he comes in and there's not enough lighting, how does he take a proper picture? So these things are very important, because all the bride or whoever the celebration, doesn't matter whether wedding or celebration, all they have is a photo memory.
Yes.
And all of these things play an integral part of it. Your decorations, making sure that the flowers in the right location. In the cake that got destroyed, they wanted to put more ivy on the cake, but it was taking away from the cake itself. And my partner said, no, that's too much. We need to limit what's going on there, because we need to see the cake.
That one is a designer. Let me tell you. Yeah, absolutely. Passion for weddings. Nadia is saying that she trusts Janelle with her wedding cake because she's yet to disappoint us. And I think even if you do have a disappointment at some point after getting to know you tonight, we know that it's an explainable one, that it's the elements. It's not you, that you put your heart and passion and your all into getting it done, that things happen. And we have to remember that things happen. But the fact that your intentions are so solid, that you're so passionate about what you're doing, that you're actually trying to make the dreams come true, we can forgive that. You understand? Because so don't worry about that last cake falling down on you, man. That's cool. Forgive him.
But the bride said she did not even notice the difference.
Oh wow.
She didn't notice the difference. She was just happy with her cake, and even like you talk about location.
Yeah.
We've been to some really, really crazy locations. Now, I asked you if it's okay that I could use your kitchen, because the most beautiful places with the views are almost always the most difficult places for designers, for cake decorators. I deliver to Cosmos and Chasney on Chasney Road. This is a treacherous road that you have to climb. So, at the end of the day, right now, I go with the cake separated. I ask you if I can use your kitchen, and then I work in your kitchen space, and I make sure that this cake is perfect, because I have gone up that road and gone to Cali Blanc with a 2-tier cake, and it leaned. But I mean, I saved it, but at the end of the day, you don't want, after you've done all that work, for you to go back and do more work. So you have to, so I asked for time. So right now, in cases of locations, I come in earlier, I walk into the kitchen, but I will put out the cake the time, like half an hour, 45 minutes before. So I work in the kitchen and I finish and I print it out for you.
Amazing. General, I feel like we need a part two. I want to ask you so many things. How do you save it? How do you do this? How do you do that? But we have to end. I think we have so much information to just embrace and consume and be inspired by. And I know there are some people who are literally sending me messages. Where do they drop their applications for professional Sweet Dreams custom cakes tasters already? Stop messaging me. I see it coming in the top there. She's not taking vacancies. She has no vacancies for professional tasters. Stop it. What you can do though is follow her page, follow my page, and these are the requirements. Follow her page, follow my page. I'm going to be posting a giveaway post. I'm actually, this time, there are going to be 2 giveaway posts, guys. There will be 2 giveaway posts. You have a chance to win a collection of cupcakes, and you also have a chance to win a 6-inch cake. So there are 2 giveaway opportunities. But for you to be eligible for the giveaway, you have to follow Sweet Dreams Custom Cakes on Instagram, as well as follow Tej Azuka on Instagram. Under the post, the giveaway post, which will be posted after this live, you need to tag 2 friends and answer the question. Now, the question actually is made up from something that was said in the live. Now, I don't even want to give you a clue. It could be anything. It could be, you know, what school she went to. It could be her daughter's name. She never said that, don't worry. But it could be her daughter's name. It could be anything. But I was listening very intensely. And if it is that you didn't listen, you need to go back and watch this live so that you can find the answer for these 2 questions that I'm going to post here. And you get a chance to win an amazing collection of cupcakes as well as a 6-inch cake. So, guys, 25 minutes there. Don't try and play all things. 25 minutes. Guys. Because I'm start saying they're going to win, so their cupcakes have to be purple. Obviously, your cupcakes.
But tell Bex he's not part of the game.
Yeah, Bex is not part of it.
Neither is Nadia. Tell Bex and Nadia they're not part of the game.
Oh gosh, oh no, Nadia won once already. With our Shazzy live, so hopefully she'll stay away from this one. But this one is a really good giveaway, and honestly a really good live. I think out of all the lives that I've had, and don't be jealous, don't be jealous. Out of all the lives I've had, I think this one's my favorite. And let me tell you something.
Thank you.
It's not easy getting Janelle to come and do a live with us because
this is my first Instagram live. I mean, I have been on Facebook with you and the group. But never been, especially when it comes to my business, never been, no, because I am fearful of what people see of me. So that was my biggest fear. But you've been pushing and pushing until you're gonna go a very long. You see, this is a stepping stone to the great Tej, because she is a strength to behold. When you see her work, she's amazing. Just the talent that she has, and I mean, she's been unselfish by allowing people to come into her page and sharing their ideas and having a conversation, an honest conversation.
Yes.
So you're going to go a very long way. Trust me on that.
Thank you very much, Janelle. Thank you. And honestly, all this stems out of the same thing that you're saying, which is that if we have a love for what we do, we have a love for the industry as a whole, and we have a love for our brothers and sisters, you know, and I hope that coming out of, you know, it doesn't have to be now, but I hope at some point this is a opportunity that gets included or thought about when we're starting some sort of creative association, some sort of, you know, small business support thing. Oh, I meant to ask you, you mentioned your HIBSB group. Is that a local group?
It's HBIC is an American group. Her name is Jalina Simpson. I've joined it. I believe in, I pay a monthly subscription, but when it's just for upliftment, because a lot of the things that she's teaching, I've already put in place in my industry here. However, I like when women support women, and you know, if things are going wrong, she's there to tell you, get up, because she because we're trying to find things that I could do to increase business, and one of them was Shul, is she still here? Was testing flavors, essences. So I have been in the background working on testing essences using our local products. And I met through Shul, I met a gentleman who I got vanilla beans from,
Ah,
which
yes.
which
I have been
which
on a
is
vanilla bean run with Shul.
right. So it's very scarce here, but vanilla bean is a product that is very expensive, and that's
Yes.
something we in St. Lucia could grow and export. So there are things that that I was working on. So testing, and I've tested orange, lime, vanilla. It's still in the making. However, these are things that you'll need to learn to explore, because when you reach a certain level in your business, there are other ways that you need to go to grow, because I can't do this forever. I am getting older, and the cake industry is a health hazard if people don't know that. You
Yes.
you get
Standing
you
for
get burnt,
hours.
you stand on your feet, poor blood circulation, and
Yeah.
there are lots of things. So it's not forever, and you need to be able to balance. So you need to have something that to fall back on. And if you're a creative person, because that's what you are in this industry, you have to find ways in which to actually grow your business.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing the essence on the shelf bottle package with the label that says "Sweet Dreams." Custom cakes essence. The same way I saw it with the buttercream is the same way I want to see it with a variety of different products. Thank you, Shil, for the plug for the cocoa bean, the vanilla bean. Sorry, thank you for that. And guys, don't forget that every Wednesday we're having Wedding Feature Wednesday. This amazing conversation is a duplication of conversations we've had and conversations we are going to have. So if you want to share your story, if you want to just let people get to know you, who's the person behind the brand that we see. And honestly, I'll tell you guys, one of the key reasons that I started doing this is because of exactly what Janelle said and what Cakes Etc. is saying in the chat as well, which is I've grown. I think, and I had this conversation with Janelle before, the person that I was in the beginning, I'm different now, but there's still a lot of misunderstanding that happened in the beginning because I never had a voice. I just came and worked. I just came with my tools and I was just, the only talk I was talking is about climb it, pull it down, shift it there.
Yeah, because that voice was so powerful. You'd hear you from miles. Like they're not doing it right. Get up! I will do it. Move! Come on!
Yes,
Yeah.
move on. Yes, that's it. And that could have been taken very aggressive, and people assume that that was my personality, that I was just that bullheaded, aggressive kind of person. And I realized, and she'll help me realize that as well, that it's because people don't see you outside of you. And it was a struggle for me to even come online and start doing things, and I was like committing to this and having a conversation and being transparent. That for me is a challenge. So I completely understood yours and I was so patient with yours. But I think with people seeing who I am more, they understand a lot better. I was always like that. It's just I was so work oriented and I never got to develop my personality or let you see the development of my personality. So yeah, but now I'm realizing, and COVID did that for me a lot as well, that there has to be a balance. You cannot just trust the work. You have to trust the person doing the work. And I learned this from you tonight, especially, and that's why I said it. Even if the cake falls apart, I know we can put it back together because I know you committed to this cake. I know if I'm doing a wedding with you and that cake falls and you tell me, Tej, I'm coming back in an hour, I'm going to trust that. I'm going to trust that because now I trust you. And I'm getting to you and having that conversation. I trust you now, so if not anything else for a reason to come and talk about who you are on Wedding Feature Wednesday, that's one of the reasons. Let your clients get to know you and trust you. Natalie John from CWeb, and I want to shout out CWeb, is in the chat, and she's been on the live. And I want to shout out, I have something due for you, Natalie. I know I have to send it for you. It's just been a busy period for me past week or 2 weeks, but definitely, guys, I want to just raise awareness to CWeb because it's an example of an association. It's collaboration over competition. So you need to go and check out CaribbeanWEP.com. I think that's the thing, but just for Caribbean weddings and events professionals online, and you all need to join that and get listed, get your work featured. It's an extension of the same thing that we're doing here, which is that we're really just trying to get as many persons in the local industry, seen, heard, understood, and hired, and growing businesses. So this was a very exciting conversation. Any last remarks to us, Janelle, before we leave?
As a business person, as a mom, as an entrepreneur, as a woman, I would encourage anybody, if you are planning to do anything, it does not matter how small you think it is or how big it is, just go out there and put your best foot forward. And don't be afraid to ask. All you can get is a no. If somebody tells you no, and that's one of the things that I learned from my squad, is like, she made us 1 month, our challenge was to ask for outrageous things that you would never ask anybody for. And to build that, because at the end of the day, if you ask, if they tell you no, okay, go to somebody else. Ask. Because I used to ask, everybody chased me, but that's okay. I didn't sit down there. I asked internationally. Right now, the web is in our own hands, so you can ask questions from many people. Encourage people. So ask the question that you want to learn something. Never be afraid to fail. Yeah. Because failure is a stepping stone, and you will learn from your failure. If there's one thing that I have learned, if you fall, just pick up yourself. You can cry, you can do whatever. But use the stepping stone and just build yourself. There are people who want to do something, and again, if you just want to, I would, from my experience, to be honest, in the way our environment is, I would still encourage people to still have a full-time business, a full-time job, and do your business in the meantime until you can grow your customers, until you can get somewhere. Because you don't want, when you jump into that business, you start to pull out your hair because everything feels like it's failing. The first 2 years are going to be horrible. I don't lie to tell you. It's not going to be an easy walk. But step out of your comfort zone. Take 5 minutes. Go to the beach. Relax. Go to the river. Just find something that can calm you down. Then come back and then go ahead and start over again.
I love that. Be patient with yourself the same way she's patient with the cakes. Awesome live, guys. Thank you very much. This is Janelle Joyeux from Sweet Dreams Custom Cakes. Guys, follow her page. Follow my page. Get in the comments for the giveaway. And let us continue to have these conversations on Wednesdays. I know Janelle is in the background making her cakes during Wednesdays lives. So it's nice to see it's nice to see you on the front. This time we get to catch her, not too busy. An hour of her time, and I absolutely love that. And thank you everybody who joined the live. We had 20-something followers, and thank you for everybody who started following already. I saw that people are saying I love this discussion. It wasn't only about cakes, but everything surrounding the business. Absolutely. We started off learning that she's from the South, from Larry. She's a mom, she's an architect, she's in technology, and she's now just an inspiring cake maker who has a big dream of being in an international realm. So absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm going to leave because I will come up with 5 more questions. I hope to see you online more, Janelle. I hope this is your number one for letting us start to see little videos. I saw you
I actually did a video of me recently of decorating a cake, but I'm afraid to post it, so I have not posted it yet. But I actually did a video of me doing a buttercream cake recently. Come on. Come on.
You gotta post this. We need to see more. We need to see you, your skill, your technique, because honestly, there are people out there who are learning from you. The way you angle your knife, the way you do your thing, the way you do your drawings. I mean, even that, show us your drawings, show us your sketches. Everybody's voting for part 2 already, I know, right? We want to see that. So continue being transparent, continue being open, and let's get familiar with online. Post it.
I'm going to post that to you. One of these days, we'll do a live, but I will be baking, and then you'll be there, and you'll be the commentator. So I'll be quiet, and I will be doing it, and you'll be asking the questions. I'm fair game with that.
I absolutely, you have 100% of my support right there doing that. Absolutely. So we have a deal, guys. Let's run before she take it back. We have a deal. You just let me know when, and then we will be right there with you, supporting you until you get to the point where you say, you know what? I don't need you on my life tonight. And I'll be like, cool, I'll be here watching. So good for that. All right, guys. Thank you very, very much for joining us. And Janelle, thank you again. And I'll be posting the giveaway question very soon. So you guys have until tomorrow to answer. So that Janelle can tell you what the cake is. Yes, Shirley watching already. The cake, it's coming, it's coming. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good Wednesday evening and a really good Thursday. All right, Janelle, thank you again. No problem.
Have a good evening. I will call you later.
Yes, no problem. Bye.
All right, cool.